With me now is Gurtan Singh, former member of Provincial Parliament for Ontario. Good morning. Thank you very much for being with us. I want to begin by getting your reaction to what we heard from the Prime Minister this morning. He said a number of times in a brief moment with reporters that India needs to take this seriously. Your thoughts?
What's happened right now in Canada is incredibly troubling. This is evidence that a foreign nation was involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. This could very well be an attack on the sovereignty of Canada. And India is not taking it seriously. These are incredibly serious allegations, and Canadians deserve the truth. We need to immediately get to the bottom of what this matter truly entails and involves. And we need to make sure that we are looking at every single tool available to make sure there's justice for Hardeep Singh Nijjar, and furthermore, to investigate the impact of Indian foreign interference in Canada.
So now we are seeing expulsions of senior diplomats. Your take, your view on that, and essentially, what is the goal here? I mean, don't these diplomats have a purpose or a reason? What is lost in expelling these diplomats? What is gained?
Well, we first of all need to understand the involvement of the Indian government in the killing of a Canadian citizen and which actors and parties were involved in that assassination of a Canadian. So I think diplomatic sanctions are incredibly warranted in this context. And I think there needs to be a further review of all Indian diplomats in Canada to ensure that we are looking at the impact of foreign interference and to see what degree India was involved in the assassination of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil.
So, in terms of the evidence in the investigation, again, we heard from the Prime Minister this summer, they wanted to make sure that they had all of their facts in order before they reached out to our allies. We've already heard from the White House. Again, the Prime Minister is saying that this man was killed by agents of the Modi government. What evidence do you want to see? What questions do you still have unanswered?
Well, at this point, we need to see the entire situation laid bare. We need to ensure that this public inquiry around foreign interference, which has been very dominated by China at this moment, needs to also really include in a very fulsome way India. We need to understand to what degree Canadians are being targeted, to what degree Hardeep Singh Nijjar, to what degree the Indian government coordinated, or what evidence there is around any involvement towards violence towards Hardeep Singh Nijjar in his assassination. This needs to be a full and open public inquiry right now. And this information must be made available to Canadians so we can address this feeling of fear and concern that exists in many communities, but at this moment, very much in the Sikh community. So many Sikhs fled India, fled the human rights abuses in India, persecution in India, to find safety and bastion here in Canada. The thought that a foreign state like India is now targeting and killing and assassinating Canadians in Canada is harrowing. And we need this truth to address this fear and concern in the community.
What does this tell us about the relationship between Canada and India right now? Where does it stand?
I am a big believer that for Canada, our prominent and something that we hold true as Canadians is our love for human rights and justice. And I think that any relationship we have with any nation in the world, including India, must never remove the factor of human rights. And we need to look at the ongoing erosion of human rights within India, the ongoing attack on minority communities within India. And now we need to examine the impact of India's foreign interference in Canada. And we need to understand the impact and what degree of evidence there was that India was involved in the assassination of a Canadian on Canadian soil. And when we ever talk about any relationship with Canada, it must never remove something that we're known globally in the world for, our love for the protection of human rights.
Gurtan Singh is a former member of Provincial Parliament for the province of Ontario. Thank you very much for being with us.